What's up, everybody? Unrested here, and today's a little bit of a different video. Not really a JFAQ, maybe kind of a ramble, if you will, more of an open letter to Konami. And it's an open letter to Konami, and I don't believe for a second that executives, or pretty much anybody who works at Konami, will watch this video. I live in Japan. I use Konami products. Yes, Konami makes more than just video games. They have like gyms. They have a lot of different stuff in Japan. They're a bigger company than you think. So I use their products every day living here. I interact with them. I use their different facilities that they have. I've used their gyms before. And I've bought many of their games in the past from my very first 8-bit NES or Famicom, as it's here in Japan, up until recently with PS3 games, and they've kind of dissuaded me from wanting to get a PS4, upgrading to the next level of consoles, and here's why. Hideo, and yes, Hideo Kojima. I've been listening to people talk about Hideo Kojima and call him Hideo. Now, I don't ever expect everybody to have perfect Japanese pronunciation, but when you've lived here for 9 years, when you hear him called Hideo, you're like, oh, cringe. Hideo Kojima recently left Konami, and I'm getting mixed reports as to why. I read multiple news reports. I read papers here in Japan. I read papers on the net. I read papers from America. The Los Angeles-based Konami reports from there and stuff like that. And there's a mixed kind of reasoning behind it now. I'm hearing some people say that it was his choice, that he left because he was feeling stunted creatively as far as what he could create. They were holding him back. He felt like, I guess, near the end of MGS, Metal Gear Solid 5, he was feeling pretty held back, was pretty sick of making that series, which I can understand, getting burned out on making a series. And now, apparently, he was feeling held back with Silent Hills too, which, this is what my video is really about. It's about Silent Hills, and it's about Hideo Kojima, and it's about Konami, and how the Silent Hills series has been messed up. And I really, after I saw this PT, the playable trailer for Silent Hills, or Silent Hill 5, if you want to call it that, because some people are saying that's what the S stands for, even though really it would be what, like number 7 in this series? Because if you go, The Room is part 4, and then Downpour, and oh god, Homecoming. Yeah, there we go. It'd be 7, right? That'd be 6 games before. Anyway, some people want to call it, they say it's Silent Hills 5s, that the other 2 are not being called canon, apparently. But then I guess in that case, what is Origins? And do you count the mobile games too? There's a lot of other little games that a lot of people don't know about. Even people who call themselves hardcore Silent Hill fans often don't know about Silent Hill Origins, or Book of Memories for that matter, which, oh man, can we call that a Silent Hill game? Jesus Christ. Ugh. So, an open letter. How do I feel about this? Well, first of all, let's just say Hideo Kojima is a genius when he comes to creating stuff. And before I end up totally fooled at the end of this video and have to go back and backpedal on everything I said, he may just be fucking with us. He is notorious, and I don't know if I want to say notorious, he is ingenious in the ways that he fucks with us. We can see this through multiple games, through breaking the fourth wall, meta interaction with the player themselves, with actual real-world object interaction to control his Metal Gear games, for example, control switching with Mantis, and all different types of stuff. I mean, and then, pretending like your game goes dead in the middle of the Metal Gear games, and just all different types of things that mess with your mind, even in this new playable trailer for Silent Hills. I mean, my god, if you've played that, that's a total mindfuck too. So I'm completely open to the idea this might be a total mindfuck. He might be working in unison with Konami, in which case I take back everything I say from this point on. Well done, both Konami and Hideo Kojima, I stand here with my foot in my mouth. But I'm guessing that's not the case. And I'm guessing what the case is he is feeling restricted creatively. Sadly, I feel as though the executives at Konami are in a place where they feel all-powerful, where they feel like their control is more important of the medium than their creators' control, because hell, in the past they've made decent money off of a lot of IPs and titles that are world famous, notably world famous, so they know what the hell they're doing better than even the creators themselves. And there's so many events in the past with them as far as them screwing over their creators, thinking they know what's best, when to any of us outside of the company who don't have this, I guess, constant echo chamber to tell us how good we're doing, can see where they're screwing up. For example, they finally make a good Castlevania after years of making fucking horrible Castlevanias. And what do they do with that creator? They put him on dating sims after that. They're like, oh, you did really good with Castlevania. You'd probably be awesome at dating sims. That's an amazing idea. I thought of it myself. It reminds me of a time, and you know, I've never been in the game business. I've never created a game, so of course you can come in here and, you know, tear me a new one, say, Scott, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't. I do know what it's like to work with executives, though. And I do know in the past when I've seen them make stupid-ass creative decisions because they didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. For example, I worked for a web company fresh out of college after I'd finished my art degree doing web design, a job I did not enjoy very much, but did nonetheless because it was a paycheck. And the executives of the company that I was working for decided that this website that we were designing for a client that was I guess you would call it an earlier version of eBay, because you got to remember, back when I was working on the internet, it was a long time ago. eBay was still very small, actually. They were trying to do their own version to compete, and I don't know who got the idea up in, you know, the chain of command, but one of the high executives decided we needed to make the client's site entirely in green. His big idea was that a turtle would be the mascot for it, and because the turtle was a mascot, the entire website would be green. Sure enough, when we did the first presentation to our client, they had a very good question. One that confused our executives, and even me, slightly, until I heard why. They said, why is the entire site black and white? That's strange. I'm looking at it. It looks green to me. I did everything in green. I followed orders. I didn't make a single thing in black and white, unless you want to count maybe some text. Black and white. So of course we're asking, well, what do you mean? It's all we see is green. And as soon as we said green, we saw their face kind of just like melt, like you know, Wicked Witch of the West, you know, water dumped on their face type melt. They were colorblind. They could not see the color green. They only saw black and white. So it was many, many shades of black and white. That's all they could see on their website. We lost the client. Nice executive decision there, right guys? Right. Let's just say I didn't stay with that company very long. They made many poor decisions and are no longer around. Defunct company. Very quickly, bubble bursting, you know, .com pop. So, this is kind of the thing we're seeing here with Konami and its creators doing kind of the same thing. Hey, you know, we've had all these games sell awesome. We know what the fuck we're doing. We know what we want to put in the games. Oh, you know what? All the weapons in Metal Gear, we should take them and put them in the new Silent Hill game. That'd be sweet. You got like a fucking machine gun and like bazooka to blow up ghosts. Now, I'm not saying that's really what's happening, but this is what's going on in my mind. This is what I'm imagining. Guys, the last two titles that made the Silent Hill series so bad, Downpour, Homecoming, why were those so bad? They weren't scary. They were survival horror with no horror. I would say they were survival games. I'd give them that. Okay, they're survival, you know. You had to really be careful with how much ammunition you used in the games and stuff like that. Pick up good weapons, keep your health up, dodge some enemies, run past some that you couldn't even fight. Survival, okay. Was there a second of those games I even felt slightly scared? No. No. You know, The Room which some people seem to think was actually called the Room 302 and was not originally a Silent Hill title. Well, actually, if you research it a little bit more, you will find it was always a Silent Hill title. It was never meant to be a different horror game. It was an actual Silent Hill from the start title. Where the rumor got started, I don't know. That it was its own separate game and then was bought or changed over to Silent Hill, I don't know. But I have confirmed that it was always a Silent Hill game. It was going to be called only Room 302 Silent Hill, though. That game was at least had some scares in it. It was the last game. It wasn't a very good Silent Hill. I didn't like it very much. The character and the voice acting had to be some of the worst I think I've ever seen in all the Silent Hill series. Someone gets murdered in that apartment. He's like, "Oh no, a dead body. That's horrible." It's like, well, you might die too from boredom there, Harry, or whatever his name was. I can't remember that character's name in the game. But 4 was bad, but it had a couple like moments where you're like, that's pretty interesting, that's pretty scary. And you didn't feel like you could just shoot the hell out of every single enemy that you saw. You were on the run. You were on the lam. You were trying to escape most times. Silent Hill 3, same thing. You're a little girl, barely able to survive. And then we get into Homecoming. You're ex-army veteran. We get into Downpour. You're a prison breakout. And, surviving with your strong arm and muscle and, carrying a game show worth of prizes in your pocket somehow and throwing it around. It was bad. The last 2 were bad. Okay, they brought Hideo Kojima back because the last 2 were really bad. They started to realize that. They said, hey, guess what? This horror stuff, there's no horror in it anymore. And now they're going to get rid of him again. Now they're going to let him go. They got, and forgive me for pronouncing this wrong, Guillermo del Toro. They've got him working on the project, and they're going to lose its, its antithesis, its prototype creator, they're going to lose that guy? What are you thinking, Konami? Do anything and everything to keep him on the project. We have all played PT, okay? We have all played the Silent Hills playable trailer. It's scary as fuck. It's fucking creepy. It is by far one of the creepiest experiences I have ever had, aside from maybe Amnesia: The Descent and Fatal Frame: Crimson Butterfly. For horror games. You have done a beautiful job. It was one fucking looping hallway. That's all it was. It was one stupid hallway. And I still loved it. If you can do that with one tiny little ounce of the game, imagine this amazing masterpiece you could make with that guy. If he can do that with one little hallway and a design team, imagine the game you could make. He's got all the technology at his fingertips that he never had before to make something super goddamn creepy. And you just can't, compromise a little bit to keep that guy on there, okay? Executives, you don't sell the titles, okay? You slapping a big old ad out there, putting the commercials up, the CMs, shouting on TV, billboards, game magazines, paying people to do reviews in the newspaper like they do. We all know that goes on. That doesn't sell the games. You know what sells games? When they're good. That's when a lot of people end up buying them. There may be initial sell for a game due to hype and things like that, and it may get a bunch of copies sold at first from a little bit of just title hype, as I call it. But that's it. After everybody plays it and finds out it's another fucking copy of Homecoming or goddamn Downpour, then we see it in the bargain bin for 500 yen here in Japan. Okay, we find it in the used section of Tsutaya for like 1,000 yen. Okay, that's what happens. Don't do this. Do whatever you need to. Bend over backwards. Change the whole fucking structure of the company if you have to. Fire whatever dumbass executive that has some kind of beef with Kojima and get him back. Get him back on this project. Why you would lose the guy who started the project that gave that title life, that gave that title the fear that no one had ever felt before in a horror title. It started a whole new genre. I mean, okay, we had Resident Evil 2 that was a little bit scary. Now it's turned into a fucking gun fest. And look at that. Look what happened with number 6. Number 6 was the most boring piece of shit. I couldn't even finish that fucking game. It was so horrible. What a piece of goddamn garbage. And which way is Capcom going right now? Are they doing awesome? Are they in the red? Yeah, they're in the red. They're doing pretty fucking horrible. And it's looking like it's going to be lights out pretty soon for Capcom. All right? They're not keeping it together. All right, the only way they're staying together now is they're trying to like make people pay out the ass for DLC and all kinds of bullshit like that, and try to fucking rip money from YouTubers who put even like 1 millisecond of their music up because they're so goddamn desperate. They're grabbing at straws now. Do you want to end up like that, Konami? You want to be grabbing at straws like them? Come on, man. Bring this guy back. Create that fucking beautiful game. Make this horror series become a horror series again. Okay? Anyway, Unrested out. That's just my 2 cents on it. Guys, I'd love to hear your comments. I know there's a lot of information you can give me to better inform me on this situation. There's still aspects, views, and parts of making a game that I totally don't understand, which I'm sure would help me see this with even more insight. These are just my feelings on this subject right now. I would, you know, do anything and everything to convince Konami to bring Kojima back and finish up that project. If we do not get to see Silent Hills, or we get some shit-ass, you know, Homecoming fucking Downpour Part 3 goddamn piece of shit Silent Hills, I'm done with this series. I'm fucking done with it, alright? If I want to pick up guns and fucking shoot shit in the face for a couple hours of gameplay with no goddamn story and no horror, I'll go buy a FPS. Until then, I'm Unrested. If you like what you saw here today, please like, comment, and subscribe.